This isn't so much a lecture as a general looking ahead toward your speeches. In this class, you have two speeches. Those will be in weeks 4 and 5. And this week, week 3, we start getting into it. So I want to talk a little bit about this week and the following and where we're going with your speeches. So first, the big picture of your speeches. You have two speeches in this class. The speeches are there because this class is for oral communication and general education. It meets that requirement in Gen Ed, actually at every Tennessee State school, right? And so you have the two speeches. The first speech is your first attempt, right? So you're giving two speeches, but it's the same speech twice. So the first speech is your first attempt of that speech. And I mean, it's great. It weighs in your grade decently. The second speech is the improved version of it. So I will have given you feedback, you'll have gotten a peer review, and it is expected then that you will improve your speech between the first and the second. So that's what I'm doing, is having you do the same speech twice, hoping that when it's done, you'll have a really rock solid speech that you'll have something you could do with if you should be so inclined. Right? The speech you give, right, that you're going to give twice basically for a grade, can be informative or persuasive. And so here in week 3, we'll be talking about informative speeches, how to do that, and we'll be talking about persuasive speeches at the very beginning of week 4, though the general overview of informative and persuasive we do discuss in week 3. And I'm wanting for these speeches to be of use to you. I mean, of use to you personally, that whichever speech topic you choose, you end up producing something, right? A speech that is of value to you in some way. You may not ever give that presentation necessarily, but you start looking into, given your current job, given your work history and what you'd like to do, given interests you have and how you might be able to use that in a career going forward. How can you do that? How can you take these things that you've done or you want to do and take it to the next level? And part of that's going to be presentations. And in this class, they're not live presentations, they're online. And in case you haven't noticed, right now we're doing a lot of stuff online. Businesses are as well. So I want this to be something of use to you that will get you moving toward something of a profession, career, side job, side hustle, if you will, something that would be of use to you. So you're going to start by choosing a topic. I'll get into this a little bit in my lecture on chapter 11, but in general, you're going to be submitting your topic choice by noon on Friday the 31st. Right, you submit your choice to me and then I approve it. And it's just to make sure you're not heading down the wrong path. So you have to submit it and then you need to make sure that you are in fact approved. Please don't submit it and then assume that it's all good and never go back to see whether or not you received approval. If you don't receive approval, then resubmit and let's get that taken care of. Please remember, as you're choosing your topic, there are some guidelines, some things you're going to be expected to do. So when you're choosing your topic, think about, is this a topic on which you'll be able to find supporting materials? And what I mean by that is really what we often call library research, right? You have to have sources that you are going to cite within your speech. So make sure it's a topic that you feel you'll be able to find useful, valuable sources to support your topic, right? I had a student once give a speech, it was a process speeches in public speaking where we gave multiple speeches of different types. And so some of her sources, because she's doing a process speech on cooking, her sources had to do with cookbooks, but she's looking at the different, ways that they go about approaching it. But that's still finding supporting material, right? And you're also going to have to adapt to this class audience. You're going to have to think about, if you had to speak to the group of people that in fact are in this class, how is this going to be of value to them? How is this going to be something that they will be able to understand because it's not too technical? So you have to be thinking about that. Those are important guidelines. You need to sort of prepare yourself, and I'm not trying to scare you at all. What I'm saying is that you are in a 5-week class. So things are moving really fast. I mean, each week of this class is like 3 weeks. So the last 2 weeks we get into speeches would be like, 6 weeks of classes, and instead it's just 2 weeks of class. So be prepared that starting a little bit in week 3, and then as you move into week 4, so this week in week 3, we're going to talk about the basics of speeches, and I'm going to talk about as well how does one go about, or what are the different ways that one does informative speeches, what are informative speeches. I'll be doing that. Then, in week 2, or week 2 rather, as we get into week 4, right, you still need to be really bracing yourself because this is the big week. First, that Monday through Friday, we're going to first talk about persuasive speeches. And then I'm going to be talking about how you go about doing research, both in the library and of your audience. So again, be thinking about, in this week that's coming up, you're going to, on Thursday of week 3 and Monday of week 4, learn about the elements of these speech types. And then on the Tuesday, learn about how to go about using library research. And by the end of the week, right, you're going to be giving a speech. By the way, in week 4, we're also going to talk about organizing and delivering a speech. So in week 4, you're going to be researching your speech and organizing it and looking at my expectations. So you're going to have to make sure there's time in your day and in your life to be doing this. On Saturday, 8/8, or by then, you can submit it before then, speech 1 is going to be due. On the syllabus, it says noon. I'm probably going to push it back to just a little bit later in the day. But your speech is due by noon on Saturday, August 8th, which is really the end of week 4 in this class. So that's where we're going. That's where we are. You're going to do fine, but just be aware of what's coming, be prepared, and be ready to really put yourself into it. All right, I'm looking forward to this, and let's get back to the lectures on preparing and delivering speeches.